We kick things off with our hero climbing a massive mountain and claiming that he has finally found his perfect utopia. As he continues to climb, he gets the feeling that he will finally get to fulfill his dream to raise creatures that no one has ever seen before. As he finally reaches his target spot, we can see all kinds of fantasy beasts such as dragons and unicorns. However, we first need to understand how he reached here, so for that we go to a flashback. We're in a zoo where some squirrel monkeys are being fed their meal, but they seem to fight over who gets how much. The feeder is a girl who tells the monkeys to behave themselves, and this causes a breed pause. But soon enough, the monkeys start to act up again. This is because our hero has arrived and the monkeys are quite fond of him, so they rush towards him. He is covered with the monkeys as he greets the girl, and we learn that his name is Iku Hara Kiri. He happens to be the zookeeper of the Tamagawa village zoo and is quite renowned for his work. The girl is glad to see Iku back from his trip and points that he has repeated his work clothes yet again. He casually answers her, and then we learn that Iku had gone to the Amazon forest to do some research on forest species. The girl asks him how the field work was and if he had discovered any new species. It turns out that Iku did discover about 10 new species, but they were all bugs, so they were not of any interest to him. The girl notices that he is not too keen on such things, and then the monkey on his shoulder acts up. Iku notices that this baby monkey has lost some weight ever since it was brought here, so he checks its temperature. He also notices a swelling on its head, which could be the sign of a vitamin C deficiency in squirrel monkeys, known as turban head. He decides to mix up some calcium and vitamin C supplements in the feed, but the girl is shocked to see that Iku knows the weights of all his monkeys. She praises Iku to no end, but for good reason, because he has a PhD in biology and is also qualified to be a vet doctor. He also knows all kinds of animal behavior, but our hero has still chosen to work at a backwater zoo such as this one. Iku says that in a zoo you can take care of animals that people can't keep at home. Also, when he's free, he can go off on a field trip as per his choosing, just like he had just gone to the Amazon. He is happy this way, and the girl also comments that Iku is a master when it comes to animals. However, she complains that he has no interest in humans at all, hinting that she wants him to have some interest in her. Iku asks her if she said something just now, but she changes the topic. We learn that this girl used to look like a proper dork before, but now she is a cute babe, which is why she is upset that Iku did not notice her image change. Iku seems to have caught on to this, so he wonders why she is getting so upset all of a sudden. That's when he decides to use his skills to see if he can deduce the cause of the girl's behavior. He can see that she has suddenly changed her look, probably to appeal to someone else, and she has some intrusive thoughts to go with her disturbed emotions. That's he realizes that it might be that time of the month for the girl. He says it out loud, but that clearly does not go in his favor as he gets a tight slap on his face. Later in the day, the girl is done with her work, so she says goodbye, leaving Iku alone at the zoo. As he wanders around his animals, he feels that this should be the perfect environment for him, but his heart still feels empty and hollow. That's when it strikes him these animals have already been discovered and studied by people before him. He is only tracing their ecology and adding on to what others have already found out. In this case, he will never be satisfied because his real dream is to creatures that have never been seen before by anyone in the world. It is because of this that Iku keeps traveling around the world, hoping to bump into a new animal or species that would amaze everyone. However, that is not the case, and it will probably be left behind as an impossible dream. Suddenly, he can hear cries of help, so he turns around to see if anyone is there. It's just him as of now, so Iku wonders what that noise was all about. He figures that his ears must be playing some kind of trick on him, but then something odd happens and he is suddenly taken to an unknown destination when he walks through a door. This is some kind of fantasy world, and Iku is a bit confused by what he is seeing in front of him. He looks behind but does not find a way back to the zoo, so it looks like he is trapped over here. Our hero is a bit confused because he has no idea what this place is and how he got here. It's a massive forest, so he decides to check the ecosystem to figure out where this is located. He comes across an odd flower and even insects, none of which are known in the real world. Iku wonders if he has bumped into some new species, but this is a bit suspicious because he has never come across so many in the same area. Iku has never even been to such a place near the zoo, so none of it makes any sense to him. At this very moment, our hero sees something that he would have never even dreamt of seeing. It's a giant dragon that flies right in front of his eyes, leaving him in a state of confusion and amazement. He has no idea why a giant dragon is flying in the sky, but he wants to know more about the beast, so he calls out to it. However, this is not a good idea as dragons are dangerous, and on top of that, Iku does not realize that he has walked over a cliff's ledge while following the beast. He tumbles down the cliff and eventually lands on something soft. Iku keeps pressing on the soft surface and counts his lucky stars for landing on something so squishy. However, he soon realizes what's going on, so he starts to panic. As funny as it may seem, it's not because of that he is on top of a curvy babe, but rather because the dragon has disappeared. As expected, the girl tells him that there is something else he should be paying attention to, so Iku leaves her twin peaks alone. This is not before he gets another slap to the face, so our hero says sorry for what he has done. The girl is still upset and she asks him who he thinks she is. Iku says that he would not be able to answer that as he does not even know where he is at of this moment. The girl takes a look at his outfit and says that he must be some kind of loose country bumpkin. She then reveals that this is the dark forest near the town of Mage now. Currently, access to the forest has been restricted due to the sudden appearance of a dangerous phantom beast. Either way, she tells him that there is no need to worry because she is here. It turns out that she is the descendant of the great hero of this land, so monsters should not be an issue for her. However, Iku does not care about any of that and points to something else in front of the girl. The girl is also shocked to see what Iku is pointing at, but it's just a giant turd. Our hero is excited to see this, but the mage girl clearly does not share the same emotions. Iku continues to rejoice and states that the odor from the dung suggests that it is from a carnivore. The size of this turd is what amazes him because no other animal he knows can give out something of this volume. Of course, the mage girl is a bit creeped out by this, so she asks Iku if he even knows the kind of situation he's in right now. Being in the dark forest is extremely dangerous, so he needs to get out of here as soon as he can. Now, the girl explains that she has been sent by the guild to this forest so that she can take down the phantom beast. She also reveals her name to be Manubrand, who is an overpowered mage girl. She orders Iku to leave the dark forest this moment, but he ignores her and sticks his hand into the dung much to her surprise and disgust. She wants to know why our hero is doing something like this, but he states that he needs a sample which he can study later. Of course, he is also wearing a glove, so he does have a sense of hygiene. Iku goes on to explain that from a sample, he can learn many things about the beast that left it, such as staple foods, physical condition, and even the existence of diseases. However, as our hero explains the importance of turds and how they can convey info so easily, we see a giant wolf with 3 heads showing up from behind and looking at him like a future turd. Iku may want to deduce the owner of the dung from his own methods, but the beast has shown itself and Manu reveals that it's a Cerberus wolf. Iku looks back and hilariously calls it a 3-headed dog, but also panics upon the sight. Manu will have a hard time here because she does not know if she can defeat this monster while also having to worry about Iku. As of now, all she can do is emit a flash of light, so she unleashes her gamma ray attack. The blinding lights seem to have an effect on the beast, but even Iku happens to be blinded by the lights. Manu takes this chance to grab him and take him away from the scene by using her spatial movement. This is a strategic retreat because it does not make sense for the mage girl to fight the 3-headed wolf with Iku in the picture. Now, we move to the treetop city of Mage now, which is exactly what its name suggests. We see a platform with a summoning portal where both Manu and Iku show up. The mage girl is glad to have escaped the beast without a scratch, but Iku is still confused because he has been brought to yet another place which he does not know of. He puts 2 and 2 together, after which he comes to the conclusion that this may not be the world he knows of. After all, Earth does not have flying dragons or Cerberus wolves. Now that he has realized he has been summoned to another world, our hero wants to tackle something very important. So he turns to Manu and confirms her name. The mage girl thinks that Iku wants to thank her for saving him, so she says that she only did what a guild member would normally do in such a situation. However, our hero scolds Manu and calls her a fool for taking him away from the beast. As expected, the mage girl is shocked by his behavior, and Iku goes on to say that she had pulled him away from a creature that he finally got to meet for the first time in his entire life. He laments that he could not even pet it once, but Manu thinks that there is something severely wrong with him. She scolds Iku and reminds him of the creature he was dealing with just now. The Cerberus wolf is a phantom beast which is extra fierce because each of its 3 heads can think on their own. Not to mention the fact that their vicious fangs can cover each and every angle around them. We also learn that the Cerberus wolf is referred to as the gatekeeper of hell and is a deadly A-class phantom beast. Simply being in its presence would have taken Iku on a one-way trip to the underworld, so he should be grateful to Manu for saving him. He sees what she means, but he asks her if the Cerberus is a known monster in this world. Manu says that it is still rare as a phantom beast and it can be defeated as well. The mage girls adds that since the Cerberus wolf has a high affinity for fire, ice magic will be useful against it. She had read this in a book, but tries to show off by saying she learned this through her research. Of course, Iku can't make any sense out of this, so he asks Manu what she is talking about. She gets outraged and says that Iku was the one who had asked her about the beast, which is why she is teaching him how to defeat it. However, Iku does not care about fighting the 3-headed wolf at all. Instead, he wants to know more about its feelings, the food it likes, and other similar things that would help him raise one. This is a shock to Manu because number one in their right mind would want to raise a demon wolf. She reminds our hero once again that the creature she is telling him about is a phantom beast, which is nothing more than a monster. In such a case, the only thing that matters is how to defeat it because that is the only purpose of such a monster. Raising a Cerberus wolf is the silliest thing Manu has ever heard in her life. Iku takes this in a whole other sense and says that number one in this world has even considered conducting a proper study on the phantom beasts. If this is true, then even in this world, the Cerberus wolf can be treated as a brand new species. This gets him excited, but Manu realizes there is no way she will get through to him like this. She decides to head back to the dark forest and tells our hero to go bother someone else if he wants to talk about raising monsters. The mage girl uses her spatial movement again and returns to the forest but laments the fact that she had to rescue someone as odd as Iku. On top of that, she has wasted some time and energy in doing so, which will affect her overall mission. She has to hurry and find the 3-headed wolf. But what she does not realize is that our hero has tagged along with her by holding on to her soft body. Manu panics upon seeing Iku and worries that he is acting out his intrusive thoughts. So she knocks him away with her staff and calls him out for just holding on to her body without her even realizing it. Iku decides to perform a double violation by first saying he is not a creep, and on top of that, he says that he does not even find Manu to be attractive. The mage girl finds this rude, but our hero does not care about it. He is only interested in one thing as of now, and that is the Cerberus wolf, which so happens to appear at that very moment. The reactions are quite different from both parties, as Manu is scared and worried to see the 3-headed wolf, while Iku is glad to be in front of it. The phantom beast launches an attack and knocks down a pillar, but Manu and Iku are able to dodge the attack. The mage girl says that they just need to calm down for now, because she can use her restraining magic to get the job done. However, she soon realizes that her staff is missing, so she can't use any magic without it. The staff happens to be right in front of the Cerberus wolf, which smashes it with its paw. With that, Manu's hopes of fighting the phantom beast are gone because she can't use her powers without the staff. The mage girl begins to panic in hilarious fashion while our hero just looks at her with confusion. Manu realizes that she will have to do something if they can't escape from here. And that's when she notices the remains of what may have been the phantom beast's last meal. This spooks her out because she does not want to end up the same way as the poor animal that got eaten by the Cerberus wolf. Manu even confesses that she should not have taken on an A-rank quest in the first place. However, as she panics like a little girl, Iku notices something odd about the animal that was used as a meal. The Cerberus wolf is a large monster, but it has left a lot of meat on the animal. He then asks Manu if she can use her strange powers to capture the Cerberus wolf without hurting it. She is a bit offended by him calling her powers strange, but she does say that she can make the phantom beast go to sleep. The problem, though, is that she does not have her staff, which means that she will need more time to chant her spell and also to aim at the beast. If there is no way to stop the movements of the three-headed wolf, then there is nothing that she can do. This does not seem to be a problem for our hero because all he needs to do is halt the movements of the beast. There's something he would like to ascertain in this case anyway, so his risk will work in his favor. Of course, Manu has no idea what Iku is going on about, but he reminds her that he is interested in the Cerberus wolf. He taunts the beast and tells it that he is going to wrap it around his fingers. Now, our hero takes a deep breath and then he dashes right at the phantom beast. Manu can't believe what she is seeing because Iku is being reckless enough by going in without a weapon, but he is also charging at his target right through the middle. Any normal person would call our hero insane at this point, but he does have a trick or two up his sleeve. The beast launches a paw attack on Iku, but he manages to dodge it with ease. Manu is shocked to see how agile he is, but Iku has done a lot of lower body training due to his field work back on Earth. Now that he has gotten this far, there is only one thing left to do, and that is to take on a submissive pose. It's a rather hilarious pose, so Manu thinks that Iku has totally lost it. However, she also notices that the Cerberus wolf has stopped moving due to the pose. Iku's guess has turned out to be right because his submissive pose has made the beast calmer than ever. On top of that, he also notices that the Cerberus wolf is pregnant, which could explain a lot of its behavior. However, before he can do any other assessment, the beast drops down on him, so he has to get out of there as soon as he can. This is because Manu was able to chant her sleeping spell and also aim it correctly at the phantom beast when it was distracted by our hero. The Cerberus wolf is sleeping peacefully now, so Iku decides to examine it for a bit, but he notices that the paws don't look too good to him. Of course, his methods are a bit strange to Manu, but she can't deny the fact that his methods worked on the beast. She asks him how he was able to stop a three-headed wolf from being so hostile, and he explains that he simply used a calming signal. The mage girl has no idea what he is saying, so Iku tries to show her an example. First, he states that Manu is a girl whose body grew way too much for her liking. He then assumes the pose that he took against the three-headed wolf and explains to Manu that by diverting the line of sight and taking a lower position, he is able to show a lack of hostility towards her. This is a calming signal, and by Iku's calculations, Manu should not be mad at him anymore for what he said about her body. Of course, an angry woman is a lot worse than a deadly phantom beast. So the mage girl stomps on our hero's face with her boot. This causes him to admit that his methods may not work all the time. Manu does not believe that it was so simple for him to get the job done, and he admits that if she would like to know the details, then there was a lot more to it than met the eye. Anyway, the important thing now is to decide what to do with the beast now that she is asleep. Since she keeps leaving food despite being huge, it means that her belly is being stretched due to her pregnancy. Iku wants to prepare a conducive environment for the Cerberus wolf to give birth to her child. But hearing this is bad news for Manu because a pregnant mother means that her mate might be close by. However, Iku calms her down by saying if the Cerberus wolf had a mate, then he would have shown up by now to protect his lady and child. That's when he comes to the conclusion that the beast is actually a singular pair. None of this makes any sense to Manu, so Iku states that the three-headed wolf has both male and female traits, which make it a gynandromorph. The head on the right with the scary face is a female, while the head on the left with a calm face is a male. Upon further study, Iku notices that there are no external organs, which means that the beast is able to conceive by itself. This is amazing for our hero because he has never seen a creature like this ever before in his life. Manu is still confused because if the right is a female and the left is a male, then what about the middle head? Iku explains that the middle head plays a completely different role, but this also makes him realize something. He is upset that Manu and the people of this world have only decided to stick to the one facet they know about the phantom beast, and that is its fierceness. If this is the case, then it is a massive waste and our hero can't hold back his tears due to this injustice. After all, the world he is in right now has the perfect environment to raise beasts like the Cerberus wolf. However, the people here have only decided to look at the phantom beasts as targets to wipe out without even taking the chance to appreciate them. Iku does not even care about knowing where he is right now, because he has made it his goal to raise all the monsters of this world. He will then turn it into his utopia of creatures that he has never seen or met before. As our hero stands there with a new passion, he declares that this utopia will be his very own phantom beast zoo. Now, Manu states that even though she does not get it, she will admit that she was saved because of Iku's methods. For that, she would like to show her gratitude, so she says thank you to him. Iku does not care for this, but he decides to shake hands with the mage girl anyway. She comments that his hand stinks, so he explains that he had to rub dung all over his body earlier in order to mask his scent. All this does is land him another slap to the face. As our hero explores more about this world, it's time to go back to his original world where the zoo girl who has a crush on him is cutting some veggies. She laments that she had stayed up all night playing video games, and that is causing her to be sleepy right now. Soon enough, she is done with preparing the food for the squirrel monkeys. However, she remembers that Iku had asked her to add some supplements to the food as well in order to provide vitamins to the monkeys. That's when an old man walks into the room, and we finally learn that the zoo girl's name is Korimura. This old man is the director of the zoo, so Korimura greets him with respect. He asks her if she has seen our hero around anywhere, because he was supposed to report to him today, but is nowhere to be seen. Korimura is surprised to hear this, as even she has not seen him today. The director finds it troubling for Iku to have such a carefree lifestyle, and he also complains that he found his name tag fallen near the back gate. He gives the tag to Korimura and asks her to give it back to our hero when she sees him again. She blushes for a bit and asks why she has to be the one to do it, but the director says that she is like Iku's buddy over here, so she is the best person for the job. With that, the director leaves the zoo, but Korimura laments that there is no way she can be Iku's buddy. After all, he might be out somewhere doing all kinds of field work again, which is somewhat true as we see our hero taking a bath in the river. He takes a whiff of his body and figures that he has almost gotten the stench of dung off his body now. Meanwhile, we see the three-headed wolf sleeping peacefully in front of Manu, who is scratching her head about what to do with it. Anyway, she has managed to repair her staff, and she states that things would have gone about much smoother if she had taken her job seriously. She does find our hero to be sus because he is not an adventurer, but he still has amazing physical skills and so much knowledge about monsters. Either way, her main concern is to deal with the phantom beast, so she summons an ultimate sword with her magic. She wants to finish off the Cerberus wolf before it wakes up. But then she hears a lot of stomping from afar. It happens to be our hero who is charging towards her in his shorts, which is quite shady if you don't know the context. Iku says that the mage girl can't just go ahead and attack the phantom beast like that. He even refers to the three-headed wolf as his babies. But Manu does not get what's wrong with our hero. She asks him to not get in her way because she wants to end the phantom beast without having to damage its magical core. Iku finds this scary and also amazing that the mage girl can say such a horrible thing with a straight face. He goes on to hug the phantom beast and even gives names to the male and female heads. He refers to them as Mage and Hidari, and states that they must protect the beast as it is pregnant. Manu simply laments the fact that senseless names have been given to these heads before she even knew it. What really bothers her is that Iku wants to keep the Cerberus wolf alive, but he maintains that these babies are part of his dream. Also, he thinks that they are very cute, and since he had helped the mage girl earlier, he feels that he should have the right to decide what to do with them. Manu is taken aback because even though Iku comes across as a weird man, he does know how to make a point. She does feel that the way he keeps going on and on about certain things is a pain to deal with, so she should try to teach him the ways of this world. She agrees to listen to what our hero has to say, but as a member of the guild, she will not let the three-headed wolf live if Iku fails to convince her about the worth of his dream. Our hero mocks the mage girl by saying she was being very cool right now, so he'd like to know how she was able to do it. Manu simply tells him to say what he has to say and also put his clothes on. Now, the two of them get into a discussion and Manu explains how she was able to pull out her holy sword. It is a simple case of translocation magic, so our hero starts to understand how her strange powers work. This information is enough for him to realize that his dreams can be fulfilled over here. He proceeds to declare that he will tell the mage girl all about his dreams and ideals, so he asks for a pen and paper. She does not have a pen, but she does have a feather, so Iku uses it to draw out his entire plan. Now that he's done, he decides to show Manu his dream, which is a map of all the new habitats which can be used to keep the phantom beasts. He says that this is his incredible phantom beast zoo which has a patent pending as of now. Manu is taken aback by what she is seeing, but it's not because of the plan and rather because she can't read anything that's written on it. She can't figure out the language, and the concept of a zoo does not seem to exist in this world. That's actually a good thing for Iku because it should be an even more attractive idea to a complete stranger. He decides to explain the concept of a zoo to the mage girl, which is basically that of a place where rare animals are kept together for others to come and see. He feels that everyone will love such a concept, but Manu wants to know what that has to do with the Cerberus wolf. Suddenly, she realizes why our hero is calling it a phantom beast zoo and starts shouting at him for having such a silly plan. There is no way anyone would allow so many phantom beasts to come together in one place, but Iku tries to calm her down and give her an idea of his vision. He wants her to imagine a place where she can ride a flying dragon or even go on a walk with the Cerberus wolf. The thought of riding on a dragon's back is actually quite nice, and it makes Manu flinch for a second. However, she tries to snap back to reality because she should not be going along with such a ridiculous plan. The mage girl then repeats that doing something like this would be impossible. As the world believes, phantom beasts are only seen as symbols of fear and targets for extermination, so our hero's plan will never work out. Also, to let the Cerberus wolf go just for an obscure concept like a zoo will not be something that her client will accept. This makes Iku a bit upset, but he understands that he was just on a high and did not consider how other people would have felt about this idea. The mage girl is pleased to see that our hero is finally coming around to her terms, but that is not the case at all because he says that he will now focus on teaching everyone about how phantom beasts are not to be seen with fear. He believes that this is just a small matter that he will need to work on, but Manu laments that he did not understand anything at all. Just as she says this, the three-headed wolf wakes up from its slumber and she starts to panic. Manu decides to put it to sleep again, but our hero stops her from doing so. It's actually perfect timing for him, because he can now prove to the mage girl what he has been saying for so long. Manu has no idea what he means by this, But Iku decides to use his grand strategy number 2 to get along with the phantom beast. The mage girl worries that Iku will cover himself in dung again, but he says that he will simply let the beast memorize his scent this time. He tells Manu to pay close attention to Mage, Hidari, and the other head as well. Earlier, the looks on their faces were those of anger, with their ears raised and their fangs bared. However, as of now, their ears are pulled back and their eyes are narrowed, which means that the heads are in doubt. Iku was able to communicate that he is not hostile, but the Cerberus wolf is still uncertain, which is why it is taking its time in assessing him. The mage girl can't believe that our hero is able to understand what the phantom beast is feeling. He goes on to explain that since such creatures can't express themselves with words, they can only be understood from the way they behave and their mannerisms. This is why Iku is also going to respond in a similar manner. Since the Cerberus wolf is a pack within itself, it knows the concept of friends. Keeping this in mind, our hero wants Mage and Hidari to come and play with him, so he assumes the position of a dog. Manu is baffled once again because it's yet another weird pose that Iku has assumed. It's basically a play bow, which is an invitation to play, but the Cerberus wolf starts to twitch from seeing this. Iku simply calls out to Mage and Hidari and even talks to them about their pregnancy, but it does not seem to be working. The phantom beast launches a paw attack on our hero, but he manages to dodge it with ease, just like last time. This amazes Manu, but she realizes that Iku has been avoiding all the attacks aimed at him till now. She asks him if he is able to predict the incoming attacks, so he says that it's quite simple to do so, considering the heads have a blind spot. He goes on to say that if you stand in front of the phantom beast's false head in the middle, then you can figure out how it is going to move. Manu does not understand why our hero is referring to the middle head as a fake one, but then he explains that when she had used the light flash attack in the beginning, the middle head was the only one that had a delayed reaction. After seeing this, Iku figured there could be a chance that the middle head is just a decoy. He even confirmed this when he checked out the Cerberus wolf while it was asleep. The facial muscles may be linked, but the other organs are not working. Of course, Iku has seen a hawk moth larvae doing something similar by making a snake head, but he has never heard of a mammal doing the same. The mage girl also realizes that this is a tactic to make you fear attacking the beast from the middle. This would force people to attack the Cerberus wolf from the sides when in reality, they are the toughest ones to get. Manu can't believe that a man who had no idea about phantom beasts could figure out so much in such a short span of time. She also thinks back to how fit our hero is and seemingly awakens some intrusive thoughts of her own. That's when she realizes that Iku could actually be an amazing man who has come into her world. However, before she can think any further, our hero crosses her and says that it's time to play a game of tag. Of course, the mage girl does not like to get dragged into things, but she has no other choice as the beast is chasing after her as well now. Iku is glad that he has finally gotten some zip into his stride, and it feels like he is taking Mage and Hidari out for a walk. Manu, on the other hand, finds it rather shameful that a mage girl like herself is running away from a phantom beast in such a hilarious manner. To Iku, this is the best, but to Manu, this is the worst. Now, it's time to move to another area and meet some new characters. In the ruins of the jungle, we can see a couple of kids named Mensch and Gwen cutting through plants and making their way forward. Gwen does not seem to like this place, and she asks Mensch to stop with his adventures because the Cerberus wolf could come and get them any time. He simply says that the phantom beast has never been seen in this area before, so there is no need to worry about that. On top of that, he had heard that the guild's greatest magician had accepted a quest to finish it off, and she should be getting the job done soon enough. This is not enough to ease Gwen because her granny did say that the dark forest was getting more ominous by the day. This could mean that there are other threats to worry about as well. Mage continues to treat his sister's words with humor and even calls her a worrywart. After all, these ruins had lost their magic powers a long time ago, so they only look creepy now. As he says this, a plant comes to life and smacks him in the face, which makes Gwen worry for him. Mage says that he's fine and reasons that the branch he had failed to cut simply rebounded and smacked him. However, due to the scratch on his cheek now, Mage loses some blood and it drops to the ground, which has an odd symbol on it. The blood touching this symbol seems to awaken some kind of magic in the ruins, and the kids are now in a spot of bother. Suddenly, some demon skeletons wake up from behind and approach the two kids without them even knowing what's going on. Gwen tells Mage that they will need to treat his wound, but he says that licking it will be more than enough. Now, we shift back to Iku and Manu, both of who are still running from the Cerberus wolf. Our hero asks the mage girl about the animal that the phantom beast was eating earlier because even that looked like some kind of wolf. She says that it must be a dense forest deer, and not a wolf, but this is not really the time to ask such a question. The only thing that Iku takes from this is that there are creatures in this world that are more commonly known. He also figures that he can't keep Mage and Hidari busy with the bow play forever, so he needs to find some new kind of distraction. Soon enough, the couple rushes into the ruins, and they see Mage and Gwen under attack by the skeleton demons. Manu recognizes them as the Trent children, and she is unable to understand why there are so many skeletons over here. Of course, it's a whole other situation for Iku because this is completely new to him. Mage and Gwen are up against their backs as the skeletons close in on them, and that's when Manu figures that they must have triggered a trap by accident. Gwen notices the couple, so she tells Mage that they must be people from the guild, so they can help them out with this mess. The kids call out to our hero and the mage girl for help, but they can also hear some kind of noise, and it happens to be the Cerberus wolf. Mage and Hidari make a scary face in front of the kids, so they panic upon seeing the phantom monster. Seeing the skeletons makes the Cerberus wolf very excited, so it decides to charge at them, much to the dismay of Iku, who thinks that the beast is attacking the kids. Mage and Gwen are scared, but as of now, Mage and Hidari are only attacking the skeletons, so even though it looks like a scene from hell, all is well. Of course, Manu wants to save the kids because there are still lots of skeletons, but she does not know if she can do it without her main staff. At a time like this, it would have been ideal to have a party of people to help her as a team. However, the mage girl knows that she chose to do this quest solo, and she will stick to it. There's also the option of gambling on Iku, who has proven his skills and his use on more occasions than one. Our hero is actually pleased to see how Mage and Hidari are enjoying the bones, which is something he had expected to see from them. However, he is still a bit confused to see the moving skeletons, and he wonders if there is a creature controlling them like a hermit crab. The possibilities are endless, but Manu is upset to see this from our hero because the demons are skeletons after all. This is not like necromancy where the lifeless bodies are being manipulated with magic. As a matter of fact, these skeletons are natural beings born from the power of magic, which means that they are nothing more than lifeless puppets. One of the skeletons is about to attack the kids, but the mage girl steps in and uses her sword to take it down. She then tells Mage and Gwen that she is from the guild and will not let the skeletons do anything to them. Iku realizes that these things are not living beings, so it does not make sense for him to care about them, even if they do seem to be interesting. He feels that Manu can handle the children, and he can do what he does best. Now we see the Cerberus wolf enjoying its bones, but then it can hear some barking sounds, which even reaches the ears of Manu and the kids. These sounds are coming from none other than our hero, who is trying to get Mage's and Hidari's attention. Mensch can't believe that he is seeing an older man on all fours, and even Gwen says that it's scary to look at Iku. Manu decides to offer some comfort. So she covers Gwen's eyes and says that Iku is an adult that number one should be looking at. Now, our hero approaches the Phantom Beast and tells us that when you talk about packs and herds, there are two main groupings. There are lions, wolves, and the like, which maintain their hierarchies, so they are social groupings. Then there are horses, sheep, and the like, which move in mobs without any leaders. These are called antisocial groupings and are not applicable to Mage and Hidari because they come under wolves. In this case, there should be an alpha because they are a pack within themselves. However, he is going to change all of that today, and he calls out to the Cerberus wolf and charges right at it. Ika's plan is to become a member of the pack as well. So he snatches the skull from Mage's mouth and then taunts her with it. He is basically planning on becoming the alpha of the group, which is not what Mage and Hidari currently think of him. They must be thinking of Iku and Manu as trash and beneath even the fake head in their pack. Our hero begins his process by taunting the Phantom Beast with the skull and asking it how it feels to have something stolen from it, especially by a being that it considers to be beneath it. As expected, the Cerberus wolf roars in anger and comes at Iku, which is exactly what he wants it to do. He wants to basically show the heads what his skill level is, which means that he will have to take the initiative over here. Manu does not get why Iku is making the Phantom Beast angry at a time like this. But she has problems of her own as the skeleton demons are getting attracted to her magic powers and swarming towards her. The mage girl is not very good at combat, so she does not know if she will be able to take on these monsters. Meanwhile, Iku continues to lead the Phantom Beast after him with the skull, and they end up destroying all the skeletons that get in their way. Iku has a plan here, and it is to let Mage and Hidari know that he can't be stopped by anyone or anything. The skeleton demons close in on Manu and the kids, but soon enough, they also get destroyed by Iku and the Cerberus wolf. This is a bit confusing for the mage girl because she has just noticed what our hero is doing. Since she is the one who is attracting all the skeletons towards her, he is making them focus targets so that it becomes easier for Mage and Hidari to smash their way past these monsters. This almost makes it feel as if party roles have been assigned and they are working as a team. She clearly does not like this because she is being used as a side piece over here. Despite the amazing plan, these skeletons just keep on coming, which is not at all ideal for Manu. It does not make sense to keep fighting them without any direction. So the mage girl figures it would be better for them to just cut off the power supply to these monsters. She asks the kids if they know where the skeletons came from, and they point towards a massive skeleton pillar from behind. In the meantime, we can see Iku still giving Mage and Haruki a hard time with the skull. He even taunts them by saying they'll never be able to catch up to him at this rate. After a while, the Cerberus wolf starts to grow tired and begins panting, much to our hero's pleasure as he does not seem to know what fatigue is. Now, Manu calls out to him and says that he will need to break the stone pillar if they are to stop this endless supply of skeletons. She does not want to owe Iku any further favors, but she is occupied over here, so she does not have much of a choice. Our hero figures that anything more than what he's done so far might prove to be a bit much for the Phantom Beast since it's pregnant. Now, he declares that it's time to end this once and for all, so he tells Mage and Hidari to follow his lead. Iku serves as the vanguard and leads the berserk wolf to the skeleton pillar. But there is one last obstacle to be destroyed. It happens to be a giant skeleton king that emerges from the pillar to guard it. Manu is surprised that the pillar still had that much magic to summon a skeleton king, but she figures that Iku needs to change his target. She tells our hero that he should not go after the pillar, but before she can complete what she has to say, the mage girl notices that Iku is nowhere to be seen. She loses her mind and starts to hurl expletives at our hero because she thinks that he has run away and abandoned everyone over here. Before she can abuse him any further, Iku declares that no one is running away from here, and he can be seen climbing the top of the phantom beast's middle head. Manu can't believe her eyes and asks Iku what he's doing on top of the Cerberus wolf. He hilariously states that he often goes rock climbing and has gotten good at it, which was how he was able to climb Mage and Hidari with ease. Of course, this is not what the mage girl was asking from him, but Iku needs to focus on controlling Mage and Hidari because they are getting restless. He tells them that he will take the place of their fake head and serve as their middle eyes. The wolf heads seem to listen to our hero and even obey his commands when he tells them to crush all the skeleton demons that are approaching from the sides. The Skeleton King decides to land a finisher move on the phantom beast, but Iku tells it to dodge the attack, and it does so with ease. Mensch comments that it's amazing to see such a giant beast following the orders of a normal man, and even Manu can't help but watch on in amazement. Now, Iku takes a look at the Skeleton King and states that size does not matter because the location of the bones will still be in the same places. He goes on to give us a lesson on skeletal structures, and eventually points to the fact that the pelvis bone is the core section. He targets that specific area and launches the skull right at the Skeleton King's pelvis. Now that the skull is where it should be, our hero comments that now is the time for him to complete the final stage of becoming an alpha, which is to lead a successful hunt. He commands Mage and Hidari to attack the Skeleton King, and they manage to strike right where the pelvis is. The Cerberus wolf completely shatters its enemy, causing it to fall to the ground. The Skeleton King also happens to land on top of the skeleton pillar, so it's like taking down two birds with the same stone. The other skeletons begin to collapse all around Manu, and she can't believe that a man like Iku was able to tame a phantom beast. Now, the mage girl assesses the area and can't find any magic power, but is still confused as to how the skeleton pillar had enough energy to summon its king, even after unleashing an entire army. Now, she turns around after hearing some growling noises and sees that Hidari is getting aggressive with the kids. Of course, Iku is there to calm him down and even tells him to stay. Hidari does as our hero says, so the kids are in absolute awe of him. Manu asks Iku how the Cerberus wolf has suddenly decided to follow his commands, but he corrects her by saying none of this was sudden. When he had made the submissive pose, that was step one in ensuring he did not showcase himself as hostile to the phantom beast. Then came step two, where he made sure to make the wolf heads familiar with his scent, after which he played with them to let them know he is not a dangerous man. Finally came step three, where he hunted with them to show that he is an ally. These steps have led our hero to become the new alpha of the Cerberus wolf. He tells Manu that the beast has also accepted her as a member of the pack, although as a gamma member, which is the lowest form. Of course, the mage girl does not like to be toyed around with, especially as the three-headed wolf puts its paw on her. But she also has to accept the fact that Iku is an extremely useful person that she can use. The best way forward would be to work as allies because even Manu has some ambitions that she would like to complete. Now, Manu tells Iku that she has changed her mind about what she had said about his dreams of a utopia land for phantom beasts. She wants to be his ally, but he brings out the fact that she had hurled a lot of abuses at him when she had, though, that he had abandoned her. The mage girl casually says that it must have been the work of a forest spirit, and then she changes the topic to the kids. They need to be taken back to Jeeg now as soon as possible, so the team decides to head out of the forest. The first plan of action is to report to her client, and then we shift to this client's place in a tree town. However, the client named Tane is not happy with Manu for not giving him a report till now. He is disappointed with her as she is supposed to be the hero's descendant. But since there is nothing else that can be done, he issues an order to bring him the head of the Cerberus wolf. Now, we see Manu in an old, shabby prison place, and she checks out the shackles on display. We learn that these are the remains of the great prison, and the mage girl is surprised that such a place exists so close to Jeeg now. It looks just like the ruins from the dark forest, so she wonders if this is also a dark legacy location. It's also quite the distance from the tree town, which means that it would make for the perfect hiding spot to keep the Cerberus wolf. Manu is relieved that this place is suited to the beast because she did not know how to deal with it after leaving it alive. We can also see our hero cleaning up the place, and he is glad to have been able to do this much for his new friends. He has the kids to thank for this, as they were the ones who told him about this place. Also, they do not want anyone to know that they had come to the dark forest, so it can be looked at as a trade. The paddock here does not seem to be usable, but that's fine because the backyard can be used. Manu calls out to our hero and asks him for how long he is going to make her wait over here. After all, she has to go back and report to her client, so she'd like to get out of here if he is done with his fun and games. Ika simply tells her not to be in a rush because cleaning a place and making it conducive for animals is one of the most important things about being a zookeeper. Now that he's done with his cleaning, Iku calls out to Mage and Hidari to tell them about a specific spot. The wolf heads are a bit confused, especially with the pose that Iku assumes, but he tells them that this is an amazing place with a lot of free room. He takes a look at Mage, who still does not get what he is trying to say. So he rolls around the place to show how comfy it is. He takes a look at the phantom beast again. But this time it's Manu who asks him what he's hoping to achieve with his odd behavior. He explains that he is trying to show the wolf heads that this is a safe place for them to be. He asks the mage girl to recall what he had said about the calming signals. It was basically a generic name for the method of showing emotions through gestures. As of now, both Mage and Hidari are displaying them by yawning and sniffing around the place. These are also signals which are telling our hero that they are a bit unsure of this place. This is why he wants to show them that it is completely fine for them to be here. In the normal world, Ika's methods could be seen as crate training. Now, Iku calls out to the Cerberus wolf and invites it to come in, but it continues to sniff the place and moves its head away out of disapproval. This is not what our hero had expected, but he still wishes to be loved by his new friends. Since Mage and Hidari are not listening to his normal commands, it's time to bring out the secret weapon, which is their new favorite toy. It's none other than the skull from before, and Manu is shocked that Iku is still using it to train the phantom beast. Our hero decides to play some fetch with Mage and Hidari, and they comply with what he does. They eventually go into their new cage space, and then Iku heads to the tree town with Manu. He is a bit sad that he is away from his new friends, but the mage girl tells him to switch his mood. She reassures him by saying there is a strong magical effect that has been placed on the cage, which means that they will know instantly if something wrong were to happen. Iku finds it a bit sus that Manu is being cooperative with him all of a sudden, but she says that she only wants him to vouch for her when she makes the claim that she was the one who calmed down the phantom beast. She maintains that if she fails to convince the client about this, then Ika's new friends are going to be in grave danger. This is why she wants him to focus on pulling himself together. Iku comments that the chieftain stays quite high up in this tree town, but Manu explains that the locations are decided as per the ranks of the people living there. Our hero figures that this is like a tower mansion, and then he decides to step into Chieftain's palace with Manu. How is this meeting going to turn out for Iku? Will the Chieftain really allow such a dangerous beast to remain alive in his world? Like, share, and subscribe to find out in the next video. Hit the bell icon to get notified when I upload part 2. See you soon.